So Leo, Baz just told me that everyone was partying like Jay Gatsby's guests last night.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what went down?
I mean, I sort of stood upstairs like Jay Gatsby and watched the party from afar, to tell you the truth. But no, it was amazing. There were fireworks outside. Allegedly, I just heard them. I thought that there was maybe a sound effect because it was pouring rain. But there was also some incredible performances from the actual film inside the tent in Cannes, and it was a good time. I actually went to bed a little bit early because I had to do press all day the next day.
And I heard your parents were dancing up a storm?
My parents were there dancing, I let them enjoy those parties more than I do, actually. Ultimately, I'm so connected to this novel. I remember reading it as a youth when I was 15 years old. It's required reading, as most people know, in most schools in America, and I connected with the Gatsby character in a lot of ways, and I really, I looked at it as a traditional love story. But then to pick it up again as an adult, when Baz handed me it, first edition of the novel, and said, reread this again, I really got what an amazingly intricately woven novel this is, and how the brilliance of Fitzgerald. It was a traditional love story to me when I first read it, and then as an adult it just became this man obsessed with wanting to become a great American, to achieve something, and Daisy was the answer to all those dreams and aspirations.
How do you solve a laughing fit? How do you put a stop to a laughing fit?
You don't put a stop to a laughing fit.
What happened in this room?
It's got to take its course.
Yeah.
Sometimes that runs for... Leo and Toby had a laughing fit like that on Gatsby that went on for 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's almost painful, It's like, everyone's sort of bored by it by the end and furious with you, but you can't stop.
It looked like Toby was in pain because he exited the room here and he's keeled over here.
Yeah.
And it looked like you were in pain. You're red and...
Oh, I was just laughing. I was trying to allow Carrie some space to hopefully answer her question, and I knew I would just cause more disruption. Carrie partied so hard that she
got a cold.
Yeah, she got a cold and walked up to the door, or walked in and then left.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I got ill last night, I think, because of the weather. So I couldn't. I kind of got halfway there, and then I had to go home and take lots of vitamin C and go to bed. So I was the anti-Gatsby glamour last night.
And
sadly,
I just came from the party.
It's like 10 to 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, I just got back from the party.
That's how Baz rolls.
You look great, though.
Thank you. Yeah, I just rolled right through. No, it was a fun party in the Gatsby style, with fireworks and
Florence.
Florence.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was great. It was
In
fun.
all things F, yes.
Yes.
89 years ago, a beautiful tragedy is written a couple hours away from here. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Does that, knowing this, does this add anything to what happened last night? How important this moment was, premiering at the Cannes Film Festival?
Yeah, I think just in terms of understanding that, knowing that history took place here, that Fitzgerald was writing that while Zelda was nearby, having an affair and propelling his sort of creative process and putting all of this together.
I've never been in an audition like my first audition for Gatsby. There were 3 cameras. One of them was a 3D camera. There were 2 cameras, like these cameras, these small cameras we have in the room. There were 2 or 3 photographers, and we did the scene conservatively 25 times. We just went over and over, and Baz was, it was frenetic and exciting, and it felt like a workshop. And I think since then I've spoken to Toby and other people who've worked with him and known him for a longer time, and that's what he does when he auditions people. He uses it as an opportunity to look at the characters, look at the script. He sees it as a way of working his material, and he really wants everyone who comes in the room to do their absolute best. So I had a great time. I loved it. It was the best audition.
And your buddy calls you up, Toby, says, let's do this.
He said, I just spoke with Baz Luhrmann, and he's talking about doing the Great Gatsby, and would love to get together with you and I and talk about playing Nick and Jay. And so we did that. It was I can't remember if it was that night or the next day, but we got together for a few hours and caught up and talked about the possibility of doing this. That was 4 years ago. I then had to go read the book. I embarrassingly hadn't read the book, but I read it over the next 2 nights and am much more familiar with the book at this point.